For 75 years, Argonne National Laboratory has accelerated the science and technology that drive U.S. security and prosperity. To celebrate, we're capturing the stories of the people who've made it happen. This is Argonne Voices. Did you know the battery technology in most of today's electric cars was developed at Argonne? Michael Thackeray and Khalil Amine are two of the brains behind the revolutionary lithium-ion battery with a nickel-manganese-cobalt, or NMC, cathode. They share an immigrant background, a passion for clean energy, and a deep appreciation for Argonne's groundbreaking battery science program.
I'm Michael Thackeray. I was born in South Africa in 1949 of British parents. My dad was an astronomer and was sent out to South Africa to set up an observatory. So I was born into a life of science. I joined Argonne in 1994 and have been working on lithium-ion batteries extensively.
So I'm Khalil Amine. I go with Khal. I was born in Morocco, in a very small town, actually. I don't think so you see it in the map, to a dad who is a teacher. So for him, education is extremely important. I joined Argonne in 1998, and I've been working on a whole host of different technology.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, Cal, that this has been a marvelous ride that we've had more or less together at Argonne. But if we look back, we are both immigrants.
Yes.
And I've got to be honest, when I left South Africa, which was very traumatic for the family, but, I think like you, I was met at the airport by Mike Miles. He had a silver dollar for each of the little children, our three daughters that we had there. It was a very warm embrace that he gave us when we arrived, and he did it for both you and me when the funding was unbelievably tight at Argonne. In some ways, one could sense this because there was sort of talk of putting me on a boat back to South Africa if one wasn't successful, and all that sort of that sort of light-hearted banter that was going on in the side. But what happened for me was that with the lithium polymer program, the material that they were using just wasn't really up to scratch. And I said, well, why don't you try LiV308? And by golly, it really worked well. It gave more energy, more power. It was much more stable, and it turned the whole chemistry of the program around and secured Argonne's involvement. And it was such a lucky break. And I think there's something to be said in life about taking these chances, this apprehension of coming to the United States, and yet it all worked out for the best. That was a really good moment in my life because it sort of secured at least a couple more years' work before they threw me out.
For me, as a technologist, the impact of the technology that I invented is one that made me very proud. Early when I joined Argonne, I was able to get some funding to develop a bion microstimulator. It's a very tiny device. It allows for eliminating all the urinary incontinence in old people. And we have to basically design and build a chemistry in the battery that can operate at human body temperature for many, many years. And then we sit down with few people that were injected with this device in the pudendal nerve that control the urge of urinating. And one lady told me, I used to stay home all the time. I couldn't go out because I have to stay nearby the bathroom. So the lady was so crying with happiness because she can go to the bathroom only 2 times a day and her life changed. So that made me very, very proud because I felt I contributed to making this woman at least life better.
Cal, tell me, I believe that you have a hybrid electric vehicle. So you're practicing what your profession has taught you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just bought one because I get a lot of visitors from overseas. And the first question they ask me, is your car an electric car? So sometimes I feel very embarrassed. It's just a conventional car. So I decided to buy one. So I bought a plug-in hybrid car, which actually has the technology of NMC. So I remember when I bought it, my daughter told me, is that one that has the technology you have developed? I say, yes, proudly. Yes. So it's a great car. I like it very much.
It's been a huge privilege, I think, to have been around at a time when the world is in such crisis. because of the urgent need that there is now to use clean energy. But also, it's the era of electric vehicles now. There's absolutely no doubt that it has to come. But just maybe to have played a small role in the whole story is something that I think we can all look back on and say we were pleased to have been part of that.
This is, I would say, an experience of life. So I'm very grateful to Argonne.
I'm delighted to have had you for a friend for the last 24 years, and I hope that it will continue for a long time more.
Argonne Voices is an oral history project, recording the stories behind decades of world-changing science at the laboratory. To learn more about Argonne's 75th anniversary, visit anl.gov.